Welcome, Patriots, to this episode of Ravens Radar. It looks like I'm on the move again. I am. But today we have a spectacular guest and a lot to get to. It is war out there, and we got to get to it fast. If it's in your sights, it's on my radar. We'll be airborne shortly. Welcome, Patriots. It is time again for this episode of Ravens Radar. As at the time of this taping, it is Halloween. Happy Halloween for those of you who celebrate. We've kind of let that go in our house, but we have a fantastic guest today. I say that every week, don't I? It's always true. But here's the thing, Patriots, is I really feel like when we're talking about a lot of military elements that are going on in our world right now, it really helps to have people who have actually fought this fight. So we have the supreme veteran on our show today, the one and only Colonel Derek Harvey. If you don't know who this is, you got to watch the show. This guy is a powerhouse, but he is going to put verbs in the sentences. We're going to start getting some real intelligence. I know, sorely lacking, okay, from everything that's going on, but real intelligence. So what's going on in the world right now, Patriots? Well, we got a lot. It's never dull, and it's never safe, and it's never good with the idiot we have in the White House. It just continues to go from bad to worse. So Biden is continuing to go to the beach and, reflect on his recent nap and things like that. Meanwhile, the country's on fire. We are literally on fire. So at the time of this taping, we are dealing with a court case in Colorado. They are trying to keep President Trump off the ballot in Colorado because of the 14th Amendment. And they're saying he incited that insurrection on January 6th. So apparently telling people to peacefully make their voices heard is leftist speak for get him. So they are in another one of their never-ending waves of attacks on President Trump. They are trying to once again supersede the will of the American people by trying to decide who we elect for president. And Patriots, especially Colorado Patriots, we can't stand for this. You guys should be lighting these phone lines. Lauren Boebert should be on that television every day saying, Patriots, this cannot stand. This man's been convicted of nothing. And it's not the decision of swamp creatures and career politicians who have been there getting rich for decades to decide who we elect for president. They don't get to do that. But know this, swamp, I'm talking to the swamp now. The swamp is that all of us have our Sharpies and we'll write him in. This attempt and this shameless attempt to subvert the will of the people is not going to go unremarked. We all have Sharpies and we know how to use them. How's that? She's a Sharpie extremist. Okay, I'll live with that. The end of the day is, Patriots, this is how we battle back against the swamp, is stop allowing them to erode our freedoms and our justice. It's not up to you. So in that, with all the 7 to 9 to 10 million, depending on which estimates you believe, of terrorists that Joe Biden has let into this country, 7 million people that need to be fed, housed, watched, vetted, that were just waved on in through the southern border. And in some cases, Biden's DOJ cutting the barbed wire here in Texas so they could just walk on into our country unchecked, are having demonstrations. We've had mass shootings, all these things that were not predictable when you let millions of people who are unvetted from hostile parts of the country come into the country. And what happens now? We've got shootings going up, and we've got the usual. We have to take the guns away from law-abiding citizens in order to be safe. Only the government should have guns because they're doing a fabulous job. Ha! That's how it happens. But I also want to tell Patriots, this is the usual gun grab argument. The usual, let's let in suspect people. Why are none of these shooting suspects ever Republicans or licensed gun owners? Why are they always Democrats who have illegally obtained guns? And then here comes the gun grab by the people who are being protected by these guns. Okay. I'm looking at you, cackling czar, and the president turnip. Are these the same guns that are protecting you? Do the bullets come out really, really fast? Asking for a nation. But here's what I want to say to that. Okay, guys, here's what it is. All these people on X and all these triggered libs of going, why do you need an assault weapon? A does not stand for assault. Okay, can you guys just stop it? If you really believe that, then we should get rid of my assault SUV, my assault toilet paper dispenser, my assault paper towel dispenser, okay, my assault salt grinder. Are you guys kidding me? Stop it. Stay in school. Okay, preferably ones that are protected by guns. And here's the beauty of the Second Amendment saying it shall not be infringed. It means I don't have to tell you what I want it for. It is not absolute. Yes, it is. The Second Amendment is absolute. Okay, and that was not put in there after they went deer hunting. It was put in after they had to liberate a country from people like Biden. There's your history lesson for the day. So for all of them going, you don't need it. Doesn't matter whether I need it. What if I just want it? What if it just goes with my nails? It doesn't matter. Okay, that's what shall not be infringed means. It means I don't have to give you a reason to have my God-given rights. And my rights don't come from the government. And they don't come from the Karen down the street. Okay, they come from God, which means you can't take them. If they didn't come from the government, they can't take them. That's how it is, Patriots. So that's where we are. The same gun grabbing fight, same wide open border. We have a new speaker now. And all I will say is get to work. We're waiting for those J6 tapes. We are waiting for those single bills that are coming out. And we're waiting for you to secure our border and stop funding other countries. There it is. I'm wishing you well, Speaker Johnson and the House GOP. But on behalf of the American people, get to work. We are sick of it. Okay, we had enough of that with McCarthy. You know, send him back to California, do your job. Secure our border. Stop sending our money away. Get this budget under control. It's literally all you have to do. Okay, so Patriots, that's my take on what's going on. Keep eyes open and stay on the front line, Patriots. It's super important. And on that note, let's now get to the military grade angle of this episode and get to the one and only Colonel Derek Harvey right after this.
Hey there, Patriots. It's Raven Harrison, your conservative warrior. I'm coming to you on behalf of Raven PAC, which is an organization I founded to ensure that real Christians, real believers, real patriots have the resources and the funding to fight this unprecedented war for our freedoms and our country. Not all heroes wear capes, but wars are expensive and tiresome. I encourage you to go to ravenharrison.com, click on the link for Raven PAC, and give us your most generous contribution. As I always say, if you can't be on the front lines, support those of us who are, and every little bit helps. This is an unprecedented fight for our freedoms, but it's a war we can win. I am grateful for every patriot who will go to Raven PAC and donate and be part of this great country and restoring it to all its glory. Until then, keep fighting.
Welcome back, Patriots. It is that time. It's time to get on the front lines. And I mean, literally, we're going military grade today with the verbs and the sentences because I have a powerhouse on the show today. It is the one and only Colonel Derek Harvey. He is just a military might who is now exactly what our country needs to get back on track. They don't make them like that anymore, and he's on our show today. Welcome, Colonel Harvey, to Ravens Radar.
I am glad to be here. Looking forward to it.
Looking forward to it as well. I want those of us in the military circles, we are a family, and we look after our vets and our heroes, but there are some that shine above the rest, Patriots, and Colonel Harvey is one of those. I know your background. I mean, you have done it all. You have been you're a geopolitical consultant. You are an expert on China, Russia, foreign affairs, domestic affairs. You are an expert on government. You've consulted for, I believe, Devin Nunes and other people and the Trump campaign. You have worked on election integrity. This man is doing it on. Heroes don't retire, Patriots. But I would like, Colonel Harvey, please tell our listeners and our viewers a little bit about you.
Well, right now I'm a Washington County Commissioner in Western Maryland, and I left the full-time work on Capitol Hill, where I was the senior investigator for Devin Nunes and the House Intelligence Committee, to get involved locally while I'm still engaged on a national and international level. And I thought it was really important to get involved locally to make a difference, because Raven, like you and I have seen, between school boards and counties making decisions about COVID, about school policies, just the direction that the country's going, I realized that, remember what was going on in Loudoun County in Virginia when you had all that publicity? I said, I need to get involved, because I have an 11-year-old, a 7-year-old, and a 2-year-old right now. And I need to fight that local fight while still being involved nationally. And I have a background in, 26 years in the Army. I was a university professor at University of South Florida. Very interesting dynamics being on a campus. And then Trump called and asked me to join his team, and I went into the White House. Had some issues there. Let me just say it really short. I did get fired along with Ezra Cohen and Rich Higgins. And why did the three of us get let go at the end of the summer of 2017? We thought it was our job to support the president in accomplishing his mission, not Secretary Mattis's mission or not Secretary Tillerson's mission, who both were opposing the president's agenda. And they worked very hard to get us moved along, so to speak, offered us new jobs. I wound up with Devin Nunes, and, the story's told from there. Worked on FBI, DOJ, corruption, CIA, and worked right on through with the president's team to January of 21, where we were reviewing those classified documents that he's accused of taking down to Mar-a-Lago.
That is a couple of mouthfuls. So you basically have your fingers in pretty much every corruption pool we have going on right now. That's an incredible story. And now you've brought it back, but you're still fighting for the country, sir. So you are fighting now. So now you're doing this speaking. So let's get into what's going on with the country right now. We have a lot of things going on, most of them having to do with the silver alert we have at 1600 right now. But the important thing is, let's start with Israel. I know that you're an expert on domestic as well, and we're going to pull that in, but I really want to talk about the hot button issue of Israel. My parents are both military, retired Air Force lieutenant colonels, and I just want to ask you, sir, the speculation surrounding Israel and how the Iron Dome fell, what led to this catastrophic failure? I would like to get your take on that. What is going on? What happened with Israel?
Well, let's talk about the Iron Dome defense, and it's a combination of different systems, from short-range capabilities that can intercept. You got an aero defense system. They've got Patriots integrated into it. There are multiple layers of different technologies, all integrated through a command and control and warning system. Now, clearly there was an effort, and there's still much to be learned about what cyber intrusions were coordinated and targeted the Iron Dome defense system. But overall, the problem for the Israelis right now isn't any failure per se. They have to make tough choices. They've got a limited number of missiles that they can defend critical infrastructure and critical population centers with. And the accuracy of the missiles that have been provided by Iran to Hezbollah, mainly in the north, but somewhat less so in the south and with Hamas, is they have to be very careful about choosing which missiles to intercept, because 15 years ago, those were all very inaccurate and not many missiles were going to hit a critical target. Now they have to husband those resources and make sure they only intercept those missiles that are going to hit something important and take a chance on those that are going to go elsewhere. And that creates a perception of maybe failure.
And that's an issue. We also have an issue of, I don't know if a lot of people in our listening audience understand soft targets, but it is very commonplace for terrorists like Hamas to use civilians and hospitals and places like that as shields, or they'll operate their headquarters in places where civilians congregate so that you can't take out their arsenals without taking out civilians, correct?
Yes, Hezbollah does that, and so does Hamas. And, we worked very hard with Israelis to identify the places in Lebanon from the border all the way up to the northern border of Lebanon, where the construction was going on for putting in ammunition dumps, facilities, missile launch locations. And we saw those being put in underneath hospitals, underneath new villas, missile launch vehicles being run in and out. And we categorized those, identified them very carefully on the maps from the beginning of the construction all the way up to where they were practicing using those. So the same thing with Hamas in Gaza, but it's a much more urbanized zone, tougher to keep track of all the construction, but the intelligence has been pretty good. It appears that the biggest hospital, remember, the Israelis supposedly hit it?
Yes.
That seems to be an epicenter of the tunnel infrastructure for Gaza, with the 4 stories of underground command and control facilities, 4 stories beneath that hospital. And they use these locations to shield themselves. And it's twofold. They want to protect themselves because they think the West won't strike them. But if they do, it's part of their asymmetric warfare, where they're sacrificing people and they're going to roll the camera and publicize it and allege war crimes. Whereas it's not a war crime when if you give warning and time for the civilians to depart an area. The war crime is actually building the facility and using a facility or putting an ammunition dump next to a school or in a mosque or something like that. That's the real war crime.
Correct. And parachuting in and cutting off babies' heads and, assassinating people on camera. Just absolutely horrific images coming out.
Well, those are horrible images. And I understand the reticence of the Israelis about publicizing, the videos from the GoPro cameras and some things like that. And, a couple hundred journalists have been given that access. The descriptions alone are horrific. And,
yes.
And the other side is demanding proof that this happened. Palestinian Hamas leadership denies these things occurred, even though we've got the interrogations, we've got the evidence on the ground, you've got plenty of video from security cameras and their own GoPros. Let me give you an example of one. And this is why people have to understand, because it is so horrific. You're a parent, I'm a parent. In
yes.
one house, they took the 3 young kids, 11 and under, bound them in front of the parents across the room, and made the parents watch as they cut off individual fingers one by one kid first, and then the next kid, and then the ears, and then gouged out an eye before executing the one kid, and then did it to the second child. The screams and the horror of that, seeing your kids go through that. The reason I express this is there's deniers out there. There are Palestinian Hamas deniers, but we've got deniers on campus. We've got deniers on Capitol Hill. And
yes,
they need to understand it.
Deniers in Congress who swore an oath to uphold our Constitution that are posting flags and celebrating this and denouncing us.
And, Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib organized or helped organize that cannon demonstration. And she reiterated the same lies about the hospital and other things, knowing that the Capitol Hill had been briefed that this was a false news story, that the Israelis had not done anything. Now, that said, she helped organize. There was coordination of finance. It was an obstruction of a government proceeding. Businesses had to be shut down. There was disorderly conduct. There was resisting arrest. There was conspiracy and probably RICO charges but were in Washington, D.C., and you can bet your bottom dollar with all of that evidence, there's not going to be one charge prosecuted. And where's the FBI in this? Where are they going after all these people?
They're looking for parents to label them terrorists at school board meetings. They're busy doing fake raids, trying to set up conservatives. You are so right, sir. It is ridiculous. And we're going to talk about this, Patriots, and we're going to come back and we're going to revisit some issues at home here with the one and only Colonel Derek Harvey right after this.
We are here to defend democracy for the people.
Hey there, Patriots. It's Raven, the conservative warrior. I am here on behalf of Patriot Mobile. They are America's only Christian conservative wireless provider, and they now offer competitive business plans. Switching to Patriot Mobile from your current carrier has never been easier. When you become a Patriot Mobile member, your dollars are helping to fund our God-given rights and freedoms. You know us, Patriots. We vote with our wallet. Stop funding the people who are selling us out. Support Patriot Mobile now. Be part of the solution. Be part of the freedom. Go to patriotmobile.com/Raven. Get free activation. Patriots, mobilize.
Welcome back, Patriots. We are here with the military might we need to help get this country back on track. It's so overdue. The one and only Colonel Derek Harvey. Colonel Harvey, we had left the last segment talking about, Rashida Tlaib being allowed to organize that insurrection. And coincidentally, there was an official proceeding going on in Congress when all these people occupied the Capitol. And we have people from January 6th that are in prison right now for this. And she gets to walk the halls of Congress without justice. And Patriots, our days of tolerating this, we should be lighting these phone lines up, should be over. But Colonel Harvey, what is our action plan for Israel? What do you want the Patriots to know? What should we do going forward with this situation?
Well, one, we need to continue to put truth out there, okay? And retweet the truth on X or push it out on Truth Social. What you're doing is really important. My going and speaking to Republican clubs and conservative clubs around the country and talking about the reality of what's going on and what the real threats are. Get activated locally. Don't just focus on, the one soccer ball. There are lots of soccer balls on that field that we need to be after because we have 300 enemies out there. Can't just focus on one, but take on an issue that's really important and then reinforce and support other people. That's what the average citizen can do, and call and make small contributions and get active in your local politics, help get mobilized, volunteer, be a voice at your school board. It all helps. And we are more than them, okay? But they control the institutions and the levers of power, and we need to take it back one step at a time. So don't lose heart. It's one foot in front of the other every day. Keep fighting. As long as we're fighting, we're in the game. That's number one.
That's it. And that's Patriots. That's what I always say is, you can't have faith in God without having faith in God, but faith without works is dead. So you got to get to this line, Patriots. We got to get in here and get engaged. And that's really important. So that's talking on Israel. We've got a lot of problems because now, thanks to the resident turnup, we got these guys running through our border right now, sir. So we've got all of these people that have been let in, and our border is wide open. Inflation's out of control. We are out of money to support these people everywhere. Our economy is on life support right now. So as it relates to domestically, and what you're seeing. What is your take on what's happening here on our home front? And again, what's the action step moving forward?
Well, I think you hit some of the high points. You've got 10 million illegals that have come in under the Biden administration. And those are the gotaways, along with those that were processed and released, and some others. Then we have the 3.5 million legal immigrants that were documented and brought in through a legal process. So just in the short amount of time, we've got 13 million more citizens here, or residents here, I should say, not because they're not citizens of the United States yet. And they are here, and they're inundating cities like New York, Chicago, etc. But they're also starting to show up in places like Western Maryland, South Central Wisconsin, Northern Illinois, in small communities, and it's putting a strain on these communities, on their tax dollars, on their infrastructure, and on their social services and schools. What I said earlier was just as important. We need to get involved, and I can't stress this enough. Recruit people, encourage people to run for a local office.
Yes.
That local office then becomes someone who's going to be eligible to run for a larger office later on. And we need to take these institutions back, and we need to help scrutinize. That said, we've got so many targets of opportunity to go after. It's the immigration, it's the social welfare system, it's the DOJ, it's the FBI and law enforcement. It's going after property rights and gun rights. You could go on. It's the school issues, it's indoctrination, it's TikTok and Facebook leveraging their algorithms to shape public perception about Israel and the Palestinian situation, or to influence the election coming up. Most people don't understand that the majority of court cases that have occurred since 2020 have demonstrated that there were irregularities, and they have ruled on the favor of those plaintiffs bringing allegations against the state and local systems in government about irregularities in the election system. There were 4 Supreme Court decisions in Wisconsin alone, the state court of Wisconsin, that said what the state did was illegal and violated the law, but no accountability. So we have to recapture our country, and we have to mobilize. And we, I think, Raven, are not as focused about going out there and showing up at these meetings and creating a ruckus. We've seen it with the parents at school boards, but this needs to be expanded now. The other side, they have paid community organizers, and the federal and state government subsidize these community organizations. In Charlottesville, North Carolina, just make this point, why is a housing for the poor organization mobilizing and demonstrating in support of Hamas? Why are they organizing? Who's paying for that? The
Correct.
Taxpayers are.
Correct. And I asked that question as well. We've seen those uprisings not only in Charlotte, we've seen them in Florida, we've seen them in New York, in California. They all have matching T-shirts. They all have flags. Who is paying for this, guys? How did, within 24 hours of calling for these protests, did all these organizers coordinatedly shut down freeways, have matching T-shirts, all have Palestinian flags? Who paid for all this, guys? The same way the people who are showing up at our border have clean shirts, tennis shoes, brand new phones, but yet they traveled 2,000 miles for a better life. It didn't happen, Patriots. But again, are we going to put on the full armor of God and shake our fist at the television and go, that sucks? Or are we going to do something about it? You got to get involved. If you see something, say something, do something, anything.
Now you sound like Jenny Weaver. That's great.
Come on now.
Yeah.
So yeah, we got to do it. And I feel like you do that probably better than others. And that's what I want people to hear, because you being in the military, you've seen the good, bad, and the ugly. Me living with military parents, same thing, sir. But now you're serving your country a different way, and everybody can make a difference, correct?
That's absolutely right. But and I think you might not think you can make a big difference But we had 18,000 Republicans in my county that did not vote in the last election. And we lost across the whole congressional district, 6 counties by 18,000 votes.
Wow.
So, too many people just say, my vote doesn't matter, or I can't make a difference. You got 80,000 truck drivers in Pennsylvania that are long haul truck drivers. We need to bank their vote and make sure that, because they're conservative Republican voters overwhelmingly, but we need to make sure they understand their vote is needed. And so it's across the board. But let me make one observation here. On the campuses, I taught at the University of South Florida, and one of its nicknames is Jihad University. And I went to, and it's, you have a lot of foreign students there, and there are a lot of foreign students at all of our universities now, 400,000 Chinese students to say, just on Chinese part of it. But at University of South Florida and at Carnegie Mellon University, another university I taught, the leadership positions of the school newspapers and a lot of the organizations are foreign-born people from the Middle East who are taking advantage of the system. The homecoming parade at the University of South Florida had 17 floats by different Muslim organizations, Palestinian organizations, in the homecoming parade. And each organization gets funded by the school, and a lot of the people in those are they're interconnected. And so they're leveraging our system against us and mobilizing and financing these pro-Hamas, pro-Palestinian activities on these campuses. And it's our own states that are paying for it through the university system.
And this is, what I say, and I think I say it often, is justice dies in the dark, Patriots. You got to carry a big floodlight. You got to keep the lights on, keep the pressure on. So I'm going to tell you, I think that as Colonel Harvey and I wrap up, the essence of this, Patriots, is every vote makes a difference. Don't go vote alone. Take 10 people with you. This could be the margin, and this is what so many military people fought and died for. So don't just hand our country over. It's worth fighting for. So Colonel Harvey, thank you so much for sharing some insight and some action strategies. Where can people find you, get involved with what you're doing, and be in the army of the Colonel?
Well, most importantly, I have a webpage. It's derekharvey.org. That's DEREKHARVEY.org, and I'm on Truth Social at Derek Harvey, and on X, or what used to be Twitter, at Colonel D Harvey.
So it's X Twitter. But yes, it's this is Patriots. I'm telling you, this guy has the resources, the know-how. If you don't know what to do, reach out to him. We'll have information on our webpage as well about this. And I always say, if you can't be on the front lines, support those of us who are. Reach out to Colonel Harvey, have him speak, book him for speaking. It's worth the money. I guarantee it, Patriots. This is knowledge we need to take the country back. And we're going to be right back after this.
Hey there, Patriots. It's Raven Harrison, the conservative warrior. The book is out, Raven's Mantle, Fighting the Betrayal of America. It is a powerful memoir that you have to read to believe. Not just my story, the loop of being raised in the Cold War and now being on a loop with communism, but also what the story of the daughter of 2 retired Air Force colonels looks like, what the front line looks like, and more importantly, what created the conservative warrior. It is a story you have to read to believe. It is available on Amazon.com, BarnesandNoble.com, on our website, ravenharrison.com, and in bookstores. I'm encouraging you, Patriots, to go out and get a copy of this book, support us in this unprecedented fight for our freedom, and know what the front line looks like. An informed patriot is a powerful patriot. And like I always say, if you can't be on the front lines, support those of us who are. I look forward to seeing you all soon. Keep fighting.
Thank you, Patriots, for being here for this episode of Raven's Radar. Patriots, does it feel good to hear verbs in the sentence as somebody who's walked the walk? and is talking the talk and is out there giving us the tools we need to mobilize. If you liked this one, you're going to love the second part. We're doing a two-parter with Colonel Derek Harvey because we have much more that needs to be done on the front line. And he's going to take us through the psychology game of being at war and what it's really going to take and what we, the people, can do, to pushing our elected, officials to get things done and how we can actually get this country back on track. And I'm going to give you a spoiler alert, Patriots. We can do it. We can do it. We've done it before and we will do it again. We just have to know how to mobilize our efforts the way evil does. Just got to be prepared. And in that vein, if you want more information about Colonel Harvey, we'll have that on our website and our social media platforms, which is ravenharrison.com. You can also reach me on social media, X, Facebook, all the other ones at Raven_TX Warrior, Raven, the conservative warrior. You know where to find me, Patriots. And in that vein, I'd also like to suggest that you pick up a copy of my book, which is so aptly titled Raven's Mantle, Fighting the Betrayal of America. If that isn't a God-inspired title for what we're facing right now, I don't know what is, Patriot. But this is the blueprint. This is what I speak about in the book. What happened? How do we know we're going to win this? Because we've been here before, Patriots. Communism, fighting for freedom, the war to get on top of corruption, all of these are not new concepts. So we have a battle plan. We just need to know how to mobilize it. So I encourage you, please pick up a copy of the book. Help us in this fight. Go to our website, ravenharrison.com. You can find the book on amazon.com and barnesandnoble.com. And you can also find on our website, Raven Pack. That is the pack I formed to help conservatives like Colonel Harvey, like myself, like the real freedom fighters, Donald Trump, who are out there trying to fight this battle for our freedom. It is unprecedented, but winnable. So Patriots, get out there. If you can't be on the front lines, support those of us who are. It is an honor for me to fight for you, Patriots, even the ones who don't agree with me. I'm fighting for your right to disagree with me, and we can get it done. So until we see you again, Patriots, keep fighting.